In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the tools that are available to us when we are creating new elevation views. Now, typically when you start with a Revit template, you've got 4 default elevations, your north, south, east, and west. So you're able to create additional elevations as needed, perhaps another exterior elevation or even some interior elevations as well. So the elevation tool is available here on the View tab, and then right here you will see the elevation tool. So I'll start by clicking on elevation. And then there are a couple different types of elevations you can choose in the properties section. You can do a building elevation for an exterior or an interior elevation for an interior one. So I'll start with a building elevation for an exterior one. Notice my symbol here has the arrow for the direction that the elevation is going to be looking. And what it basically does is it points to the nearest wall. So if I bring it over here to the side, the right side, it's going to point in to the left. Same thing as I go to the top and anywhere else. Now it's always pointing towards exterior walls, so notice that even when I'm inside the house, it's pointing to the nearest exterior wall. But again, it's an exterior elevation, so I want to be on the outside. So let's say I'm going to create one of the entry area here. So I'll start by clicking to place that, and then I'll just hit escape a couple times to cancel. It's now created a new elevation. If I scroll down here to my elevations, building elevations, you can see the default north, south, east, and west, but also this new elevation 1A. So I can rename this elevation. I can also double click on it to go straight to it. I'm going to right click and choose rename, and we'll call this one entryway. So you can see my elevation. You can see that right now it goes all the way side to side on the house. But notice the roof. You don't actually see the ridges of the roof. So let's go back to the floor plan and explore why that is. If I click on the triangle portion of the elevation indicator, I'm shown what exactly it is that we're seeing inside the elevation. So this solid line here controls where the cut is taken. So if I were to actually drag it inside the house, so you can see that it's crossing over these walls. Now if I go to this elevation, I can see it's actually more of a section. It's cutting into the house. So I want to make sure that line is to the outside. So again, I'll click on the triangle and bring it back. And then this is my far clip plane, or far offset plane. And right now it's just not cutting far enough into the house to show the ridge of the roof. So I want to go at least halfway through the house. I can go all the way for that matter. Now when I go back to the entryway, I can see the ridges of my roofs since it's going far enough back. Now if I want to control side to side what's being shown, I can do that in the elevation by grabbing the little dots here on the crop regions, and I can drag those in. You can also do that back on the floor plan. As I select this triangle, you can see the left side has come in now. I can drag in the right side as well. So you can adjust that 2 different ways. If you want to jump straight to an elevation, you can also double click on the arrow or triangle portion of the marker, and as you can see, it takes me straight to it. Now if you want to do an interior elevation, then very similarly, I'm going to go up and choose the elevation tool, and then this time in my type selector, I'm going to choose an interior elevation. Now the symbol for the interior elevation is normally different. It's normally a circle as opposed to the square that we saw earlier. I will point out to you though that I've seen it several times in my class where the symbol doesn't change. For some reason the interior one is also a square. So if that happens to you, don't worry about it. What's important is that whether it's a square or a circle, it's going to categorize it in my project browser as an interior elevation. When I go to place this little symbol, you'll notice that again it's always going to point towards the nearest wall. So let's say I click to place it here, and then I'll just hit escape, and it's pointing the wrong direction. I don't actually want it to point to the left, I want it to point to the right. So once more, if I click on the triangle portion, I can control the clip frames. If you click on the circular portion or the square portion in the case of an outside one, then you'll get these little check boxes to control which views we're showing. So I'm going to turn on the right side one, and it's going to create a new elevation, as you can see here. And then I'm going to turn off the left side one. Now I'm going to get a message because when I turn that off, I'm actually deleting the view that was created, which I'm okay with. But now I have my new Elevation 1C. If I look over here in my project browser, I've got a new category called Interior Elevations, and I can double click on that elevation to take a look at it. Now you can adjust things in elevations. You can add geometry just like you would in a floor plan. So for example, if I wanted a door to go into this spot here, I can choose a door like I normally would, and I could place it as best I can here. But I usually recommend that you place things in a floor plan. Case in point, let's say I'm looking at this north elevation and I decided I'd like a window to go right there. So I'll bring in another double hung window and line it up with these other ones and click to place it. And then take a look at this message down here. It says, warning, insert conflicts with joined wall. What does that mean? Well, if I would have placed it in the floor plan, it would have been a little more obvious what was going on there. And that is the fact that I'm trying to place a window right here where a wall intersects. So just a quick example where even though we can place things in an elevation, a lot of times the best place to place geometry such as windows, doors, is actually going to be in a floor plan. So again, that's just a quick look at the elevation tools in Autodesk Revit.